potatoes are a powerhouse of nutrition. They're excellent for your immune system, they fight cancer, and they're even good for your eyes and your gut health. This roasted sweet potato recipe is healthy, satisfying, and filling, and it even shows you how to cook Swiss chard, which is an excellent source of vegan calcium. Welcome to Kat's Vegan Kitchen. If you find value in this recipe, remember to hit that thumbs up button so you never miss a recipe. Let's get started. I'm gonna serve this recipe over quinoa. Pro-vegan tip, it's great to have grains on hand, so I always make a big batch of brown rice or quinoa to have for the week. I'm gonna prep my cashews for my delicious cashew jalapeno cream sauce. I'm gonna pour about 1 cup of hot water into a measuring cup, and I'm going to add 3/4 cup to a cup of raw cashews, unsalted. Diced jalapenos are gonna give this sauce a beautiful heat. You're going to use half a jalapeno to a whole jalapeno, depending on how hot you like it and how spicy your jalapeno is. I'm gonna add the jalapeno right to my cashew water mixture and let it sit on the side while I prep my other ingredients. For this recipe, you're gonna peel 3 to 4 sweet potatoes that are about the size of your hand. Fun fact, I didn't used to like sweet potatoes because everyone makes them too sweet, but this roasted sweet potato recipe has just the perfect balance of sweetness. You want to cut your sweet potatoes into uniform pieces that are about this size. Put your diced up sweet potatoes in a bowl, drizzle with about a tablespoon of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of allspice, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of smoked paprika. Mix that up super well. And I notice my potatoes are a little dry, so I'm gonna add a little bit more olive oil. I want to make sure my potatoes are nice and coated with those delicious spices. I want to talk about spices for a minute. Your food is only going to be as good as the ingredients you use in it. I always try to get the highest quality spices when I can because it really makes a difference. This allspice was actually brought to me from a friend who went to Lebanon, and this smoked paprika was bought in Budapest. Now I know you can't travel to Lebanon and Budapest to get your spices all the time, but if you can hit up an ethnic market, you can find some of the best spices. They're gonna make your food taste that much better. Line a baking sheet with parchment paper. Spread your sweet potatoes out evenly so they're not touching each other and they can bake on all sides. If you don't have parchment paper, it's okay. You can bake these straight on a baking pan. Just make sure while they're baking you turn them a couple times so they don't stick. I'm gonna bake these in a 400-degree oven for about 30 minutes. The protein and vegetable in our recipe is gonna be a delicious black bean and garlicky green mixture. We're gonna cook up some black beans in Swiss chard. I'm gonna start by spraying my pan with just a little bit of avocado oil spray, which has a high smoke point, meaning it doesn't burn. Once your oil is heated up, add in 4 cloves of chopped garlic and saute it just until it's fragrant, which happens fast. It's only about 30 seconds. Making your own beans from scratch is delicious, but I'm making this on a weeknight, so I'm gonna drain a can of black beans and rinse them really well. Rainbow chard is the green in this recipe. It's loaded with calcium. It even has a little bit of protein in it. When you're using Swiss chard, you can use not only the leaves, but you can also use the stems. Just chop everything into some nice, tiny little pieces. The goal is to get my greens super garlicky, so I'm going to add my finely chopped Swiss chard to my garlicky saute pan. I'm going to cover it and let my greens wilt down. One reason I make these videos is to show you that just because you're busy doesn't mean you can't eat healthy. You notice how I maximize my time by making things in batches and stages and steps. So while my other stuff is cooking, I'm gonna finish up my cashew cream sauce. I'm gonna use a slotted spoon to transfer my jalapenos and cashews to my high-speed blender. You can also use a food processor for this step. I'm gonna add about half of my water and I'm going to blend it until it's the desired consistency, so I may end up adding more water. To finish it off, I'm gonna add in about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and blend it one more time to make it perfectly creamy and blended. This cashew cream sauce is so good, you're gonna wanna serve it on just about anything. Ooh, my greens are beautifully cooked down and they're nice and garlicky and fragrant. Take your rinsed black beans and toss those in. Now you want to toss your beans so everything is coated. There's plenty of flavor in the sweet potatoes and the sauce, but if you want, you can add a little dash of salt to this as well. Once that's all mixed together, you really just need to let it heat for a few minutes. All my components are ready and it's time to build my cancer-fighting roasted sweet potato, immune-enhancing, delicious plant-based meal. I like to start with a bed of quinoa, and it adds a complete protein to this meal. Then I add on my delicious and beautiful garlicky greens and black beans. How beautiful is that? I like to put my sweet potatoes around the edges, so it's like a little nest of goodness. And finally, I spoon on this insanely good cashew jalapeno crema. Start to finish, this delicious roasted sweet potato dish took me about 40 minutes. I like to make a huge batch so I can have it for leftovers for dinner and lunches throughout the week. If you enjoyed this recipe, remember to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on Kat's Vegan Kitchen.